Good morning, guys. Today I want to talk a little bit. Look at the birds. Look at them scatter every time I come out here. I want to talk a little bit about apricots versus apriums. And my two varieties here are, we have a Katy Apricot, and then right next to it I have a Flavor Delight Aprium. And they're pretty similar. Both of these trees are planted about 3 years apart. This one has like a 3-year head start, the apricot. And you can see how productive this tree is this year. It's insane. And I haven't been out here bagging like I should be. And you can see what's happening to all the fruit. And so there's still gonna be plenty for me, so I'm not super worried about it. I mean, believe it or not, I probably thinned at least 200 fruit off this tree, and it's still just overloaded. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the epic winter that we had. And it was also cold kind of later into the season than normal, and so these are ripening up probably 3 weeks later than they normally do. Normally you get these kind of middle of May. This year we're getting them into June, late May, early June. Now, if you're interested in one of these trees, the first thing I want to point out is these apricots. If you've ever gone to the store and bought an apricot, it tastes nothing like what you get off these trees. These are insanely better than what you get in the store. And if you have any experience gardening, you know there's certain things that you plant in your yard and they're just so much better than what you get in the store. Tomatoes is one example. Where a homegrown tomato is just so much better, not even comparable. Same thing with apricots. So that's the first thing. If you kind of have tried an apricot from the store and you're kind of like, they're okay, well, these are so much better. And I think what happens in the store, they just pick them early, and so they don't ripen up, and you don't get that really sweet, sugary taste that you get with these off your own tree when you wait and let them ripen up. And so these trees are very similar. Production wise, you can see this thing is crazy productive. I think this one is going to be very similar. Growth habit on the two are similar. My Katy is a little bit more hardy growing. It just grows a little bit faster. And I think a lot of that just has to do it. You know, you can go to this store and buy two of the same plants, same variety, plant them right next to each other, and one always grows faster than the other. And I think that's the case here. It's just that tree is just a hardier tree than this one. But this one still, I can tell it's gonna be very productive. I've gotten fruit off both these trees every year, so the chill hours don't seem to be an issue here. One thing I have noticed is that stone fruit in general, particularly my apricot, tends to be a little bit alternate bearing. And what that means is 1 year I'll get a crop like this that's just amazing. Next year when I harvest, it's going to give me fruit, but it's not going to give me even close to the amount. Look at this bird. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to eat your fruit right in front of you, no problem here. You're not even scared. You should be. I'm gonna wring your neck. See, I scared him. So intimidating. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna wring his neck. Okay, so I'm gonna taste these two, and I'll try to describe the taste difference between an apricot and an aprium, and tell you which one I like better. And maybe it'll help you decide what you want to do if you're thinking about one of these trees. Alright, so here we go. These are Flavor Delight, and these are the apricots here. And so size wise, you can see they're pretty similar. They're a little bit smaller this year just because I didn't thin them very well, so a lot of times they're just a little bit bigger than this. When I eat them, I always just break them open. They come right apart, and this is one of the things I love. That seed just pops right out, no problem. So you can see it's nice and juicy. So I'm gonna try the apricot first. Oh man, that's so good. So the apricot, really what it tastes like is a peach. It's not quite as, it just has less flavor than a peach, but it has that peach flavor to it. And it's really, really good. So, Flavor Delight Aprium comes apart the same way. These I find to be just a little bit juicier than the apricots. And so I'm going to taste this one now. Oh man, they're both really good. So you can't go wrong with either one of these. But this one you can definitely taste the plum. So you taste kind of the peach and plum kind of mixed together. So if you really like plums, I would definitely say go with the Aprium over the apricot. If you don't like that plum flavor so much, maybe you can stick with the apricot. But overall, I like the taste of this one better. It's a little bit sweeter, just got a little bit more flavor to it, a little bit more complex, sweeter. It's just juicier, just probably a slightly better. So if I had to pick just one of those two trees, I personally would go with the Flavor Delight Aprium. But it really is a personal preference because my youngest son actually likes the apricots a little bit better. So it just really depends on your preference. But I personally absolutely love plums, and so that makes this one the keeper for me. Alright guys, just a quick wrap up. So they're very similar trees. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I don't think you need both. The Flavor Delight Aprium seems to start ripening up about a week before the apricot. So the harvest alternates just a little bit, but there's so much overlap and they're so productive that you definitely don't need both of them. So right here I have my plum tree, and this is the first year. I've had this in the ground for 5 years. This is the first year that I've gotten plums off of it. So this Aprium, if you really like plums, it might be a decent substitute for a tree that might be kind of difficult to get heavily produce here in Arizona. So just food for thought. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I definitely recommend these trees. And oh, one more thing. So this apricot ripens up usually, like I said, in May. And then I have a peach tree that ripens in June. And so it's a good complement to get an apricot or Aprium mixed with a kind of a later harvest peach tree, because as soon as I'm done eating all the apricots, I'm going to be out here eating these peaches. So anyway, all right guys, thanks for watching.